Hello, my name's Roy B, Man of Merlin. Welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking about how to deal with the stresses of Christmas and what that as men, how we as men deal with that, from pressures with our partner, our children, our family, even friends, all these obligations that just appear around this time of work, even obligations from work. And what's the best way to deal with that? So, first of all, what pressures do we face at Christmas? Well, if we have kids, it's that pressure of buying them the perfect gift or all these things that they may be asking for, whether it's tablets or mobile phones or computer games, Xbox, PlayStation, those types of things, Lego, even all of these things that may not necessarily be within your budget if that's the situation you're in. Another one is also partners as well, and the same situation applies. They might be saying, well, I want this for Christmas, and and you're not sure how you're going to cover all this along with all the food and everything that we buy over Christmas, this mass consumerism that we tend to face around this time of year that puts enormous pressure on us, especially if our finances aren't great at the time, which maybe even forces us to do a lot of overtime, which then means even more time away from our family. These pressures, they're always there, and they come around once a year, and it takes a couple of months at least to get over the other side of that. So it's not till February that we're getting back into a bit of balance again, and that stress in our body is starting to dissipate a little bit. So how do we then communicate that? Even speaking that, this anxiety of that pressure of that is just within my own body, even though I don't suffer that myself. My kids have grown up, and my partner's not very demanding in regards to what we're doing for Christmas. I'm blessed. But if you're not necessarily not blessed, but if you're in a different situation that these pressures then step into, how do we deal with that? Well, first of all, it's communication. Irregardless of what happened last Christmas, you can start afresh this Christmas. Take the kids, for instance. It's about managing expectations and explaining that if they're at the stage where they still believe in Santa, that kids still understand adult concepts, they just don't tend to have the adult vocabulary. So explain to them, and take the time to explain to them at their level, that it's you that provides the money for the presents, and that money is not a massively abundant thing right now, or however that may change in the future. So you're not teaching them negative habits around money, you're just managing them where your finances are right now. And ultimately, kids prefer your presence rather than presents. So maybe even looking at it from an out of the box perspective and buy an experience rather than a present. And then just get them little small stocking fillers, let's say, and then take lots of pictures while you're doing this experience, whatever it may be, and then have a conversation with them after the Christmas period and saying, well, look, which did you prefer? Did you like presents last year? Did you like going for this trip? Whichever works out cheaper in general over as the whole, for the whole family, that takes the pressure off you financially. It's about thinking outside the box, and obviously include your partner in this conversation. And it's about having a conversation at this level, saying, look, these are the facts around it at the moment, and this is my solution. We can either say, have a chat with the children and say, look, this, Santa brings the presents, but we provide the money, kind of thing. And you can also use that as a period to start teaching your kids about money and how it can be an abundant resource, rather than a limited resources, which is what our parents tend to teach us, that money doesn't grow on trees, and all of those statements that make us believe money isn't there all and everywhere. I mean, this is manifesting on a whole different video on its own. I'm just covering the basics here. The other pressure we find is that we often have to go and visit family or go to gatherings that with people that we just don't get on with, because over the last couple of years there's been a lot of changes in the world where it's created a massive divide of people believing one thing and taking one set of actions, and another person not taking any of those actions and believing another thing, which with everything coming out today is proving to be, that us that stood up to the face of that are being justified in the actions that we took. But this is not about I told you so here. This is about getting along for maybe just one day, or even having that conversation and being honest and saying, look, we just don't get on anymore. Why are we deciding to catch up? That where we're just going to put ourselves in a situation where there's this energy of animosity or walking on eggshells, or there's a big subject we can't talk about, or or whenever that if you do go into that situation, that if you even have a conversation, there's going to be these in between the line digs and things like that. And to be honest, like, you don't have to go and face that. So depending on your situation, it's about having that conversation. And if it's, let's say it's going to your partner's house and they're going to go, it's about having the conversation saying, look, if we go, this is what's going to happen. So yeah, managing that, yeah, there is the potential minefield there, but a conversation and then coming to an agreed middle ground, whether it's with your partner saying, yeah, look, we'll go, I'm happy to, yeah, I'll go, but the minute this happens, and if it starts to happen, then we leave, and have that as maybe as the line in the sand. And so therefore, if that doesn't happen, then you're there for a much longer period and everyone has a good time. It's about having that conversation where everyone agrees to a certain set of standards, that if that line gets crossed, go, right, this is our exit strategy, for instance. So it could see how it comes back to communication and having a frank and honest conversation with your kids, your family, your friends, your partner, on how you're feeling and how you want the day to go, and say, look, I'm happy to come to the gathering. However, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to go into any of that. I just want to have a good day, and it's up to both adults to adhere to that. Often on these days, alcohol's involved, which makes those rules go out the window. But again, if you've travelled there, then that's up to you to then take yourself out of that situation and not sit in that energy of stress and anxiety and bullshit and all of that stuff. So the key component really is to help prevent stresses and anxiety and all of those really awkward emotions over this Christmas period, is start having those conversations now, today, well ahead of time, not the day before. The day before, it's just probably a bit too late, and then you're putting yourself in a different awkward situation. Whereas having those conversations now and saying, look, I know we don't get on much, but we're going here for the day for this reason, that reason. Let's agree to disagree and just not talk about that, and just let's talk about good times when we did get on, and that's all we talk about. We stay in that realm. Maybe when you were kids or whatever it is. There's always common ground somewhere where you can talk about something where you both got on for a short period of time and just make that, or a common thing that you're both interested in, sport for instance, where you might support different teams and you can disagree on that, but it's, there's no animosity there per se, it's more banter. So have that conversation, and then it's also about having the conversation with kids if you haven't bought the presents yet, although you may well have already done so. But if you haven't done so, just manage their expectations, saying, look, this is Christmas time. It's about spending time with family, not about receiving a wealth and abundance of sometimes pointless gifts that then they're only going to use for a day and then forget. So it's about this is the time where you can change what happened last year to then make this time and period a much better time for you, emotionally, mentally, which then physically. There's so many days where you can make these changes. And it all starts with the conversation with yourself and courage and to have them conversations with others. So hopefully you've found this interesting, and hopefully then you'll have an amazing Christmas this year and Happy New Year too. My name's Roy B. Merlin. Keep tuning in for more videos on helping you with health, wealth, happiness, emotional and spiritual journeys, and all of the things that I cover. Take care, everyone. Thanks very much. Bye bye.